Hello everyone, I'm Sharon Hawks, the director of Nahant Public Library. I'm here today to talk about a project and make available an interesting part of our library collection. It's an herbarium of 382 pressed plants that are over 120 years old, collected and preserved by Nahant School teacher Florence A. Johnson and her students back around 1897. Here's what a couple of the specimens look like. For example, this is common tansy. It has a stamp on it indicating that it was part of a Mass Horticultural exhibition in 1897. And over here, this is silverweed, also called goose tansy. And one of the things that she did was she turned over a couple of the leaves to show you the silver backings. And I think this is an excellent mounting from the herbarium. This is part of a 2-year project funded by a Library Services and Technology Act grant through the Institute of Museum and Library Services and administered by the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. We also receive assistance from the Friends of Nahant Public Library, made up of donors from this community. Thank you, friends. We have 9 other partners in this project who've been very helpful with information and advice. I want to thank the Historical Society, who own part of the collection and voted to give it to the library to make the collection whole. I would especially like to thank John Benson, who called attention to the important and urgent nature of the project even before there was a project. Now here's an interesting group. This depicts the Nahant School staff in 1909. And this one is Miss Florence A. Johnson, the daughter of Edward J. Johnson, who was born in Nahant in 1860 and died in 1951. She was a teacher in the Nahant Public Schools for 47 years, beginning in 1881. The last of the 3 schools where she taught was the Valley Road School, now Nahant Community Center. When she retired in 1927, over 500 former pupils and friends attended a reception in her honor here at Town Hall. Miss Flossie, as she was called, was much appreciated. 123 years ago, Miss Flossie's students entered 184 pressed plant specimens into an exhibition of live plants and herbaria sponsored by the Mass Horticultural Society. Here on the left is Horticultural Hall in Boston in that era, and here are her students. This is an illustration from a news article of what the herbarium exhibition looked like. Must have been very impressive for these students to display their work in Boston, and they won a prize. Here's the description of their work, written in the Town of Nahant annual report for the year before the exhibit came out. It says, "We were much pleased to notice a fine collection of native wildflowers properly pressed and preserved in the grammar school. This is largely the work of the pupils done in odd hours. They did not commence the collection until late in the season, and in consequence, their display is limited to autumn flowers and foliage. The coming season, they will, no doubt, complete the list, and it then will be worth a visit to the school to see the exhibit. We have no doubt many would be surprised to see the beauties of the common things that we pass every day in our fields." So here's common tansy, and here's the pressed plant that you saw earlier. This is growing up at East Point, by the way. Here's chicory. This one has a little bit of blue color left in the pressed flowers. This is celandine poppy. Now, there were 184 specimens submitted, and we still have 181 of them in extent. This one is mullein. Some of the plants in the collection were introduced to this country, like this one, and some were native. I believe the ones in the school show were from Nahant itself, but it's safe to say they were all from the area. Here's Queen Anne's lace, you might recognize, wild carrot, and a beautiful mounting. And their prize, $6, the largest prize among the various school herbaria. Now, to classify these specimens, Ms. Flossie used Gray's Botany, which was a tome that really only had descriptors of the plants and no illustrations at all, which made it very interesting that she had this depth of knowledge to quantify all those different plants. So what else is in the herbarium? There are 201 other specimens in the herbarium that were not part of the Mass Horticultural Show. This one, sundew, is a carnivorous plant, was probably not from Nahant, though sundews have been known to grow in Lynn woods. This Norway maple, like a handful of other specimens, is dated fall of 1896 and still maintains some of its fall color. This pink lady slipper is the only specimen naming who gathered it, Josephine Fallen and Josephine Larkin, two of Miss Johnson's pupils in 1897 to 98. It says they gathered it from Lynn Woods in May of 1897, so perhaps it not being from Nahant is what excluded it from the Mass Horticultural Show. Let me know if you find one in Nahant, but please don't pick it. Take a photograph instead. This climbing fumitory is a species of special concern on the Mass Rare Plants list. A secondary project would be to cross-reference our list with a rare plants list. If a rare plant still grows here, we should look to protect its habitat. If you find one, let us know. But many of the mounted specimens are just pretty to look at, like this shepherd's purse. Herbaria can help tell us what grew in the region. They can be mined for genetic material. And this one is a snapshot into the educational experiences in Nahant over 100 years ago. We've done a number of things under the grant so far. We were able to install a hanging system in the main hall and the computer room, making it easier to hang and change the artwork. We conducted a Nahant Reads Together, inviting everyone to read The Stranger in the Woods and consider why nature is important to human emotional health. And hasn't that become even more important during the pandemic? We hosted lectures by arborist Tom Brady and the new director of Mass Horticulture, James Hearsum. We offered free tickets to see a nature exhibit at PEM by Johnson School's artist-in-residence last year, Wes Sam Bruce. And we created a Walk Nahant brochure, putting together several of Nahant's walking trails into one guide. The brochure is available at the library, and an electronic version is available on the library website. With assistance from Robert Wilson and Boston Public Library, we've photographed every item and are awaiting news that the images have been uploaded to Digital Commonwealth, a statewide library of digital images of cultural heritage materials. Not only will Nahanters be able to see the collection, but so will the world. So what's next? Right away, we'll be working on an exhibit using the herbarium to be displayed in the computer room at the library. In the background, we'll work on a couple of research projects. The Harvard Herbaria was kind enough to send us a spreadsheet of the specimens they have that were found in Nahant. We will send back which of those images are also in the Florence Johnson collection. And we will look for rare native plants in our collection. In the coming year, we'll be working on more programs, including with the Johnson School, to teach them about what school was like a century ago. We'll even identify and press plants together. And we'll properly contain the Florence Johnson specimens to help protect them from future deterioration. It's our hope that the herbarium will continue to inform us about what grew here and help us appreciate and protect the unique and beautiful environment that is Nahant. So thank you to our partners, and thank all of you for listening. See you at the library.